Alright guys, hey, welcome back. It's Kate with Kate's Secretless Live. Let's go ahead and get into whatever the signs and symbols may be. And I'm going to go ahead and do a bit of a shuffle first, see what comes out, and then take a look at the cards as they present. Hang on, I want another row or two here. Okay, so we are starting out with mostly all uprights, obviously, but we've got two that ended up in a sideways orientation. I'm going to keep them that way. My first impression here is that we've got indecisive energy that someone is trying to not fully admit to. So we have the desire for communication with this Eight of Wands, Eight of Fire. Somebody's got the heart of a tiger, somebody's got bravery, somebody's sure that they are going to be able to speak their mind. It may be a divine feminine who has the faith that, you know, if I just speak up, if I just explain myself, it will all turn out okay. She may be someone who has a very poetic mindset. She may love music. Her voice may be very musical. She may think that, you know, singing your heart song is the way, and listening to the divine inspiration is the way to express yourself, and then things will turn out all right. And I think she has a real genuine belief. She may have curly hair. She may dye her hair blonde. It looks like there's darker roots, but with blonder hair on top. She may have a corgi, a basset hound, or some other dog. It could be a smallish dog, though. Also could be a blend, something that's, you know, like a mixed breed dog. I feel like this is the outside of a building. I know it looks like it should be a stained glass window, but I feel like this is more like the front of a building, like a building with a big overhang that has like a very modern feel to it. Now this could be that there's a location that she goes to. This could be a church, since she does have the faith card and the music card. She could go to church, pray on things. We see the angel wings on the tigers. Tiger stripes in particular, someone could decorate with tiger stripes somewhere in their home. But there's also, this first line really speaks to me of a powerful spiritual belief in doing the right thing, speaking up about what your heart really feels, and it will all be all right. And there's something about, like, you know, the Creator will be pleased with me so long as I always follow my heart and speak my truth. And I think that's beautiful sentiments, right? I feel like this is somebody who really has strong convictions that probably go back to what they were taught in their ancestry. We see like a bust of like a Beethoven or Mozart here, but she could be someone who loves music or has a classically trained like musical mindset. But I think for me, this is more connected to the way she was raised, the way she's been taught. So she wants to speak her piece. Okay, the next lineup is where we get indecisive. We have theology, which again, we're going to talk about spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs, but here's where the question mark comes in. And it's because we have the moon, which is sideways, and then waxing moon, which is also sideways. So the moons are always going to be about mystery, also about phases. Here again, we have the dog that represents loyalty here. We may have somebody who's got like a tattoo on like an ankle. I'm seeing it over a bony prominence, like a crescent moon around like an ankle or around a wrist or something. But there could be, this could be her who has some kind of a tattoo. But it feels to me like all of her convictions are being tested right now. And I think they're being tested not for a negative reason, but more because I honestly think that instead of whatever this is that she cares deeply about, instead of her just believing in it, I feel as if she is wondering, do I really take this action, or should some things start to come toward me? Must I always be the one who is so generous, who is always the one opening the gates? Must I always be the one offering people second opportunities? Must it always be me? On one hand, perhaps that's a beautiful way to behave, but on the other hand, what if I'm being loyal to the wrong concept? What if, because we have the New Deal and we have the Soldier of Earth, it almost feels like we have a feminine who's struggling with a belief system, because I think although she tends to do the right thing again and again and again, maybe a sweet soul, a generous soul, somebody who helps many, many people, someone who makes other people at ease by having the conversation that other people would dodge. She may give forgiveness even when people don't ask for it. She may consistently find herself creating, beautiful music out of absolute silence. But there's this piece of her that's like, what if I actually should expect someone else to step up? What if I want the New Deal? What if I want someone else to move toward, like offering me an apology or offering me, any kind of an offer? Must it always be me who does this? Even if she was trained in hospitality, if she was raised to always be the bigger person, and I believe that she is, she or he, it doesn't matter who we're talking about as far as genders go, but it's like, okay, but there are other lessons also, perhaps to learn about, permitting other people to become their best self also. And it's like, is it always just me who has to keep giving? Or what if I should maybe at some point consider, can't I expect something in return? Just a little bit, just a common courtesy. Or what if I hold back and I let somebody else come toward me for once, instead of me always offering the forgiveness and always saying, well, someday I'll get my reward. I feel like she's had to turn the other cheek way too many times in life. And there's a little component of her that's like, maybe I should expect a little bit more. Maybe it's okay to want more for myself. I really like the fact that she's starting to think about this a little bit, because I would argue that everyone deserves, equal, fair, and just treatment. We have astrology coming out sideways. It's definitely something about, I think she's just starting to question why she operates the way she does. Does she really believe in the things that she thinks she does? The fact that we have the moon coming out here, I kind of feel like she might be even about to recognize that maybe she is quite gifted. Maybe she is, I don't know, maybe a little bit of a starseed or something. She has a great capacity for compassion. We can see that. We can see she's got a lot of forgiveness in her. We can see she really believes in the goodness of people. But she's starting to change her mind just a smidge and say, now hold on just a minute. If we all have a life path, my life path is no less nor more than anyone else's. But maybe they should have to struggle to become, a more empowered version of themselves. Maybe every person has to work on themselves, and that's okay to expect that. Let me consider more about my own life path, because I think she's realizing she's learning a really valuable lesson about her own, valuing herself a little bit more, and expecting more of others is not rude. Maybe she should have expected more. Yeah, we're bringing in logic and misery. I kind of feel as if she is learning that to be too... Look, it's wonderful to be generous. It's wonderful to be kind. I would never disagree with that. But there's a difference between, being able to comprehend the things that people do and say, you know what, I'm not going to hold anger or wrath towards you, but nor am I going to put myself into a position where I have to continuously forgive things, instead of saying, you know what, that was really wrong. You need to go work on yourself. Because I think she's realizing that she's almost started to put herself into some misery for the sake of always being so generous for others. Maybe she's the kind who's given away everything she has to help others, extraordinarily generous. And she believes in that, but maybe she's done it to an extent where she's recognizing this is a bit foolish. What if one of my lessons was how to balance my generous spirit and my desire to do good with bringing it into logic? Because if I'm miserable, if I'm giving everything away that I have, how will I even have a shelter for my own self? Should I live in misery in order to continue to be so generous, if it costs me this much to be that level of generous. And I'm talking about, like, maybe she's been trespassed upon. Her generous nature has perhaps made it so that she allows people to disrespect her. Maybe it's, you know, she's ended up being someone's kind of like taken advantage of, or been, I don't want to say their doormat, but her kindness, her goodness, her desire to be kind and always forgive and always believe the best could be placing her into a position of misery because she's not using her incredible logical mind, which is also a divine gift, right? She is a beautiful divine person who wants to do her best for everyone, is what it looks like. But what about using that beautiful divine brain that we've got that's also supposed to help us logic through, wow, this is not a good idea for me. I'm overgiving here. It's making me utterly miserable. I keep allowing others who prove to me again and again that they're not stepping up, but I keep giving to them anyway instead of expecting more from them. And I kind of think that's what she's starting to recognize. And I think she's asking herself really great questions about, wait a second, what if it's my life path is to learn these lessons? My life path is not just to be like the epitome of generosity to an extent where it's kind of like without ration or reason anymore. What if my lesson is to use my beautiful brain? And I kind of think that that's where she's at. I think she's starting to recognize that there's a lot of value to be had in her perhaps expecting more of those around her, of being a truthful sounding board instead of being just this constant fountain of generosity. And this could be tough because this could almost, I almost get the vibe that this is like a mother who has a grown up, maybe son or daughter who's perhaps kind of stuck in their ways. And she's like, no, I love them, but I should also tell them that they need to grow. And I can believe in them and say, I know that you can grow. I know that you can do this. But she's dealt with somebody who's pig-headed. We can see that. Whomever this person is, this could be a romantic partner that she's dealt with, that she's just had endless support for, but they really need to start stepping up. This is what she'd actually like. I keep seeing somebody who keeps their hair a little bit like more, almost like a 1970s-esque kind of shaggy hairdo, it looks like a masculine who has a youthful persona, but that could be immaturity that I'm picking up on here. She may be somebody who has quite a few like books around her, books on things like, because I kind of think that she's been thinking long and hard about things like logic and maybe even, you know, psychology to better understand herself, and astrology and theology and philosophy. I feel like she's been she may have a library that's full of different books, or she may spend some time at a library trying to figure out, or just maybe she's a really astute people watcher and she's starting to recognize this lady's no fool. Let me put it this way. She's a sweetheart, but she is nobody's fool. But she is learning something that's been kind of hidden in plain sight, something that she's known. She's got a great backbone, but I think for the longest time she was trying so hard to be so loving, so giving to everyone. Somebody could live near the ocean, or they see a ship sailing, and that may have to do with these changes, like the changing of the wind in her life. Someone could live in a place where it is getting quite windy right now, and it could be the metaphor for like her kind of like being cleansed from her old mentality and thought process that seems to have been keeping her very trapped and being an overgiver. This is a very gentle story of someone who has been an overgiver, who is recognizing that may not be the best way to do things. You can be kind, you can be supportive, you can be a giver, but you still have to have expectations. Truthful, honest expectations is what she's, I think, figuring out for herself. It's okay for her to be a truthful person with, especially whomever this is, instead of just being this endless support system that never says, fortitude. Yeah, she's definitely ready to start like laying down some truths, right? She's pulling her sword of truth out of her scabbard. She's still a sweetheart, right? She has a, I don't think she likes to have to do this, but she realizes that there's a time and a place for tough love, and she's about to dish it out to somebody. Now, we've got a stuffed animal of a lion behind her instead of a real lion. This is Leo energy, but I really think it's overdue for her to give tough love instead of just love to somebody. Do we have one last card on whomever this person is? By the way, she may have like I know we see armor here, but I'm picturing somebody who has like one of those weighted vests to like work out in so they get a better workout. We got the Soldier of Fire and we have the Selkie. Wow, he's going to be stunned that she's like, oh my God, she's like two different people rolled into one. I've always only seen the soft side of herself. Now she's transformed. The Selkies are, in mythology, they are the seals who can come up on land and then shed the seal skin and they become a beautiful woman. And they can live as a mortal woman, but typically in the mythology stories, they almost always want to return to the sea and return to their former seal skin. So there's a duality to her. And I feel like they are going to be stunned, but also this must be a romantic interest because they could be stunned by what they see in her, but also, let's face it, they're a little turned on. They're thinking that she's pretty hot when she gets kind of sassy. Her hair even turns red from blonde. Someone could dye their hair, somebody could dress a little different, somebody could have, or she rather, could have a rather sudden, abrupt way to tell a truth that needs to be spoken. She expects more from this person, and she's ready to go ahead and tell them that. Step up or step off. I've been loving, I've been kind, I've been supportive, but you know what? What I haven't been is 100% true. I need to be straight talk with you right now. Here's what I want. Here's the new deal. You put some stuff into action that you can commit to, and let me see the progress that you're making, whether it's coming toward me, offering me something legit, but it's that or I'm gone, because you know what? I can exist in a world that doesn't include you if that's what I gotta do. I got the strength to stand up for myself. Good for her. Good for her. He seems to be very much more intrigued because this is a side of her he does not know. This could be a big shock to this masculine. He could be a fire sign, does not have to be. She's showing up now as a fire sign. And this is not to be confrontational or angry. This is just, she didn't lay down the rules the way she should have at some point in time. And so she's having to backtrack and do it now. But do it, she is. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. I put one of these out every morning at 5 a.m. But if you're looking for other zodiacs, you guys can find those under the playlists that I have for every single zodiac. Or you can just go to the live tab on my channel and you will see everything that I've uploaded. I do usually 2 zodiacs per week, including Ophiuchus. So you should be able to find anything you want. Also, we do a today's topic video that breaks usually at midnight, and I do singles reads as well on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. All right, lots of love. Bye, guys.